open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
How much do you like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
She's entertaining because she sounds so fucking dumb. She is the Valley Girl of the East Coast. Hadouken! Have you ever heard her talk?
I have. She sounds really fucking stupid.
When they parodied her on Saturday Night Live, they weren't exaggerating.
I just can't help but every time I see her, I think of a fucking donkey from the way she laughs. Like, oh.
Does she laugh like that?
Oh my God. Google search. Here, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Let me just show you how I get it. You can either Google search AOC llama or AOC donkey laugh.
Did they put it with the screaming llamas? Because those are great. Like the Whitney Houston and I Will Always Love You.
Okay. See? Look at that. Look what comes up. They show horses. They show donkeys.
Obama llama ding dong.
There's Obama. Then there's a llama. And then there's her and it says ding dong.
But does she laugh like a donkey?
This is her face when she fucking laughs, dude.
Like a donkey.
Look at that shit. Ha 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 ha. Anyways, I don't want to mock her appearance. I want to mock her thinking.
Stupid bitch.
That's what you do when you're being civil and you're tearing someone to pieces.
You're the one that looked up. I just thought that she laughed like that.
I just wanted you to know that every time I see her, I can't help but fucking think of Donkey from Shrek. Or a llama.
Oh, no, he's way more personable.
So, crime has spiked in New York City.
Really?
Since they have defunded the police and pulled plainclothes off the street.
Really?
I know. Shocking.
Oh, my God. I never saw this coming.
Yes, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, thinks that is linked to unemployment and parents shoplifting to feed their children. I'm going to read you a quote. Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent, and so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry.
No, you need to read it the way she would read it. Maybe this has to do with like the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent, and so they go out and they need to feed their children and don't have any money. So they feel like either they need to shoplift some bread or go hungry. That's how she would say it.
I almost feel like she would end it on an upward inflection, like, so they feel they need to either shoplift some bread or go hungry, almost like it's a question.
Ooh, okay.
When my voice goes up at the end,
yeah, I think
so everything sounds like it's an interrogatory, not an imperative statement.
Could be right there.
So anyways, authorities have said that the crime numbers in New York City have recently surged, with shootings in New York City last month reaching more than double the previous June. Immediately, she thinks the reason that crime has gone up is because people are out of work due to COVID.
Now, hold on. Out of work due to COVID. Aren't people who are currently unemployed receiving not only unemployment benefits, but an additional $600 per week?
If it has not expired already for them, it will by the end of July.
But that's what they've been getting since when? April or May?
Yeah, and many of them have said that they're making more money not working than they were when they had a job.
So how is this? They're not paying their rent. They're not paying their rent because they can get away with it. And they're not out there stealing and doing crime because they're low on money. They can get away with it.
No, they need to choose between paying their rent or getting food.
No, they don't. They're making $2,400 more a month than I am.
That is correct.
And I work.
Right, so it's a little facetious for her to act like that's the only factor in all of this. Not that there's civil unrest and people are using it as an opportunity to go out masked as protesters and commit crimes, or people are just like, well, fuck, the cops are nervous right now, or there's not as many cops, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what I want to do to get what I need or want, because fuck everybody. Whee!
For fuck's sake!
So New York's police department said in a statement that the incidents had significantly spiked and risen across all 5 of the boroughs, despite restrictions in place over the COVID-19 pandemic. The reported spike, as they keep calling it, the increase in these incidents, burglaries have sharply increased, with 1,691 incidents as compared to 759 the year before. Car thefts have also increased over 60%. And in light of the statistics, New York PD Police Commissioner Dermot Shea said, "The sharp increase in shootings and violence in New York puts innocent people at risk and tears at the fabric of life in our city."
Oh.
Seems
That's a
melodramatic.
politician answer right there.
Yeah, he must be trying to get a new job. And the commissioner added that the department had been hit with, quote, deep budget cuts alongside changes to the criminal justice system due to COVID-19. Now, I will say they defunded $1 billion with a B, billion from the New York PD, right?
That is
a lot of officers.
devastating to a budget.
Now, they said that they funneled them into closely related things, so it was all kind of a work. And good for you, finding a loophole. But AOC insists that the rise in crime could not be a result of budget cuts that have been proposed in light of George Floyd's death or the national civil unrest over police brutality and systemic racism. It has to be because people are out of work. They're
out
desperate.
of work, and they're not paying their rent, which would give them money for food, but they're not buying the food. They're out there stealing the food because there's no fucking cops.
I don't know why you got a little southern at the end there. I was already getting ready to want to punch you in the fucking throat for talking like Jesus
But
Christ.
I started out like her, didn't I?
Oh my God, I
Took a
wish
turn
somebody
to the
would
southern.
drown her in a well.
Oh my God,
She's fucking terrible. She's
know,
exactly what happens
I don't wanna
when
say
you
she's
vote a
dumb.
millennial
She
into
just-
office. Oh, she is dumb.
But I don't want to say she's dumb. Like, she just doesn't think about things before she starts speaking about them.
Let's put a very diplomatic designation on her then. She's not very eloquent.
No, I think dumb probably fits it better than that.
Okay, well, I tried. Here's the thing about this, is what she's saying is if burglaries are up and car thefts are up, and I'm not saying they're not using statistics
They're
that are not
stealing
related.
the car to go to the grocery store to get bread.
Well, they never said what percentage of crime is up in terms of grocery store thefts from bodegas or Targets or
It doesn't say
Walmarts
anything
or
about
whatever.
grocery stores.
It doesn't. But here's the thing. When I see people stealing on television, what are they stealing, Timothy?
Big screen TVs, because nothing says justice like a 70-inch.
So your children must be really hungry to eat all 70 inches of a flat screen 4K TV.
They are very, very hungry.
You must have a huge family to have to feed them so many pairs of Air Jordans.
Yeah.
And clothes.
But not work boots. Those are too tough.
They're not going to need to eat the perfume that you stole from the counter or the Nintendo Switch that you ganked from behind the glass case or the designer clothes that you're fucking stealing when you're looting. Your children need food. So I would like to find out how many grocery stores are reporting upticks in food theft. Because if that's not the case, then she is living in fucking la-la land. You can't tell me that things are so destitute right now that people have turned to stealing food. Why? Because if you look everywhere, especially around these parts of Minneapolis after entire neighborhoods were devastated from rioting and fires and looting, what did they do first? They donated food and water and clothing and necessities and everything. The fucking food banks are overflowing with donations right now. I can tell you firsthand because I know a couple people that regularly go to the food shelf. Not just now. They have for a long time. There's always food there. You're not going to get the freshest bread or the least crunchy leftover birthday cake. But what you're going to find is a great many deal of canned goods. And the number of people that have been on EBT and food stamps and other government assistance cash programs to afford more food like SNAP, the numbers have gone up because the middle class has gotten poorer. It's just something that has happened. Now, the pandemic may have exacerbated all of that because some people are out of work, but I have to tell you, of the 30 million people or so they say are out of work right now, how many of you are waiters and waitresses and bartenders and baristas and people that did unskilled hourly wage labor and at no time tried to get a degree or get a job in another field? You have to think, oh, well, my wife, for instance, she is a masseuse. She is a yoga instructor. None of those were allowed for a long time. She was getting unemployment for a couple months. And somebody I know rather insensitively at the time I felt, said, well, you can't tell me you can't just go get another job. Well, now some of these people...
That wasn't me, was it?
No.
Okay.
No, I would fucking call you out to your face if it was you.
Okay.
It was a female. She could go get another job, but there's no guaranteeing that it's going to work for her schedule with her children. It's not as easy as just go get another job. I know I'm making it sound that way, but I try to be pretty fair by speaking from both sides on some of these issues that are right there, hot button, down the middle. You're right, you're not working, but you could go find something else to do. And it wouldn't be the same amount of money with the same hours, but we can't all go work at Walmart. We can't all go work at Target.
Well, it's just that many people out of work. It means there's no jobs to have.
That's the thing, is they're saying, oh, these people, we need to get them back to work. Well, if you shutter everything, there's no fucking jobs to have.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there stealing bread to feed their families. Well, they don't pay their rent because they called the bank and said, hey, you're going to have to give me a 3-month gimme on my mortgage.
The Beast
did it. She's not paying her mortgage for 3 months.
Fucking Christ.
I worked through the whole pandemic. I was tempted to be like, I wonder what would happen if I asked for 3 months of not paying my mortgage.
God, if I could do that, I might have a really nice savings account.
I said it tongue-in-cheek because I got money in the bank. I paid my fucking bills the entire time.
Yeah, I have too.
Now, given I wasn't laid off due to COVID, but I could have been. But I was deemed essential.
You could have been.
Because I'm in the social work field. If I would have been at the jail, they were deemed to be necessary, mandatory work. Even though they sent 90% of the inmates home, I'm not shitting you.
Jesus.
And that's another thing. There's a segment of people there that get to leave for work, right? Not all the inmates are stuck just serving all their time.
What percentage is that?
The sentence to serve is, Jesus Christ, 35, 40% maybe.
Okay.
So they sent all those people home. They put them on the ankle bracelet, which cost them money. And then they sent home a bunch of other people that I think they had almost no time left, or they were very vulnerable and they have to report back. So this is from a former coworker of mine told me, most of the inmates that were still there were black guys that immediately cried racism because they let all the whites go home. They waited for my old boss to come up to the living pod, and they cornered his ass and started pointing fingers and crying racism. And the next day, an email went out saying, give them whatever they want. If you see them sleeping on multiple mattresses with a stack of pillows, we don't care. Try to keep it as peaceful as possible.
What the
They're
fuck?
worked up. Exactly.
Let them take over the roost. Okay.
So basically, because they were afraid of being fingered as racists, wink, because they were afraid of the accusations of racism in there, and because my boss's boss is a gutless pussy with a crooked eye who couldn't see what the fuck was happening, they were being coerced into treating these people better. Much like all these people that don't have work right now are saying, I can't go back to work yet. Well, find something else to fucking do. Have you tried?
I think some of them don't want to go back to work. I know one of my mom's friends got called back to work, but she was getting her unemployment plus that extra $600 per week, which I thought it was per pay period, but it was per week. And they called and said, well, we want you to come back to work. And she's like, oh, okay. And she immediately was telling my mom how pissed off she was they called her back because she was living a high life the last 3 months with that extra $2,400 a month.
Right.
And now she has to go back to living what she was making before because she has to go back to work. If she doesn't go back, they fire her. She can't collect unemployment anymore.
Exactly. And
The Beast
tried to play the same deal. So now you've got these people that are unemployed trying to coerce the government into giving them another stimulus package so they can continue to sit on their ass. And I got to tell you, as somebody that was working the whole fucking time, I'm seeing all these people like, we're so bored. We can't do anything. Fuck you. I wish I was bored. I wish I had some time off. I would fucking kill for a vacation, but I can't do it because I'm going to come back to a mountain of work. It's not going to be worth taking the time off, unfortunately.
Yeah, no one else could do it for you.
We've done an episode about that concept. It's called Workaholics Anonymous. I don't remember the episode number, but I remember the title. Look it up. So back to Miss AOC, the brilliant future leader of the world that she is. Yes, some people may be stealing to feed their families.
One
But
out of 55,000.
I have to believe that with the amount of charity and social awareness right now, you're not going to have people so destitute for something to eat that they're going to resort to thievery. Because the schools around here have decided they're going to give out free bag lunches to anybody all fucking summer long.
Yep, my kids are going and collecting it every day.
You don't need to go get free food. It's just cushioning your budget.
Yeah, we don't need to, but that's what Mrs. Number One fans. She's like, I tell them they can run up to school, get lunches. We have food for them. We when we go shopping, we plan on having lunches for them home, but the kids like going up to school and getting a lunch.
And my wife, when she was out of work, she would take the kids to get bag lunches. And then also, because she was staying at her parents' while they were quarantining, they would stop at the YMCA and get a free family dinner platter every night. That would be enough to feed a family of 4. During the week, they would do that.
That's nice.
So I have to believe that in New York City, there's places you can go to get food. There's other surrounding communities that you can go to get resources if you need it.
Yeah.
I doubt there are that many people that live around there that cannot fucking afford food that they need to steal. So she can think what she wants, but the crime statistics do not reflect a problem with food theft.
Nope.
It's burglaries, which stealing bread is not a burglary. Breaking and entering
It's just theft.
is a burglary. And then car thefts are up 60%. How many fucking Toyota Camrys are you feeding your children?
They steal the car so they can sell it, and then they can get money to buy bread.
Well, see, that makes sense. Now you're connecting dots. I wish she would have said something like that. If she would have been like, well, what crimes are up? Oh, car thefts? Well, how do we know that they're not turning to a Gone in 60 Seconds type thievery ring to steal cars to part out to get money to buy food? It's a lot of rigmarole to get a roll or a loaf of bread. Wouldn't it be easier to just go fucking steal a loaf of bread?
If we don't get no tolls, then we don't eat no rolls.
Thank you. Robin Hood Men in Tights. High five. Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It Podcast Show. For the What Do We Call It Podcast, I'm Jmann.
I'm Number One fan Tim.
And that's the end.